In this tutorial, I'm going to go over the things that you'll need to complete data assignment 4. So we're going to talk about how to merge data frames, how to plot data frames directly, and how to take data series that you're getting from the FRED API and turn those into data frames. So let's go ahead and just look at the cells of code that we have here. We're importing the libraries that we need, getting the data series. We should be fairly familiar with that at this point. And then here in this cell, what we're doing is we're taking the data series GDP, which we've queried from the FRED API, and we're using the command pd.dataframe with GDP as the parameters, and then creating a data frame and naming that data frame ngdp. We did the same thing with the M2 velocity data series and the M2 data series as well. And we change both of those into data frames. And we see when we print these out, M2 and GDP, we can see what they look like. And the problem is, at this point, we have two data series that start at different times. One starts in 1959, the other one in 1946, which can make it difficult to do operations on these two things. So what we're going to go ahead and do, so that we can plot both of these on the same axis and be able to do operations on them, is merge the two data series. So right here, using the pandas command merge on these two data frames, we're creating a new data frame v_df by merging M2 with ngdp, merging them to the right, setting both indexes as true. And then we end up with a data series that looks like this. Now, just really quick, up until this point when we've plotted things, we've done it directly like so, using the plt.plot. Another option that we have is, instead of doing plt.plot, calling it directly on the data frame. So whatever the data frame variable name is, in this case v_df, we call .plot, and this is what we end up with. Now at this point, what we want to do is call a function on two different sections of our data frame. But just so that we can differentiate the two, because up until this point, we've had one column named 0_x and one column named 0_y. We want to rename these two columns so that we can tell the difference between the two, one to M2, the other to GDP, and then we can see them. Now in this last cell, what we're doing is calling each separate column from our v_df data frame, calling an operation, in this case dividing them by each other, and then creating a new data frame called nv. Now with this nv data frame, a useful function that's included in the pandas library is the .concat, which stands for concatenation, which is kind of like adding. You can think of it that way, the numerical operation adding, but for objects. So we create another data frame, both _df, by concatenating nv and v on the same axis, on a single axis. So now that we've created a single data frame with columns M2 and GDP, and we understand how to call functions or operations on two different columns from the same data frame, and then how to concatenate two different data frames, you should be prepared for everything you need to do in this next lab. If you have any questions or any kind of confusion on how to do the merge function, there's a link included in the document, in the Word document included with the lab, that kind of explains things. So go ahead and refer to that, and that should be able to help you get started.